all that. I am now hitting record. All that homoeroticism just into the ether.
Isn't that a good thing, though?
Not necessarily. Okay. So that's Right Club this week. I saw a whole bunch of I love that the whole bunch I love that line is what yeah. I saw a whole bunch of activity on the Discord last night. In fact, I had to mute everything because I was online and it just kept going beep 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 beep. Which, you know, it's not a complaint. I'm quite happy. So first off, can I get a producer to point everybody to either a producer or lead writer to either point us to or tell us the story if such a thing is currently existing. Either unmute yourself. Looking at Right Club 6, and it seems that there is no submission button. Oops, I screwed up.
I took care of it, and also the added Shakespeare bit online stuff.
Okay.
February the 5th.
Let me edit. Yeah, but I gotta edit. No submission online. I gotta do it for
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
When you want me to do it?
I got it.
Okay.
Docx PDF text.
Yeah.
Save.
So you want it to be restrict file uploads to
docx PDF or text.
Okay.
Okay. So I am going to make Olivia a co-host. I gotta get. Wait, where's the organization? No, that's not it. This is 4 p.m. Where's 3 p.m.? 3 p.m. ARC organization. I gotta. Okay, Luna. Where's Luna? There she is. You are now co-hosts. Okay. Can one of you? Nick has given us a Google Doc. Let's copy that and paste away. Control V. Okay, so let me share this because basically here's the thing. As usual, I have done this before, right? And what happens is people say, I didn't know what was going on. So one of the things I like to do here is to make sure that everybody knows what's going on, right? Nick or Olivia or Luna, do you want to take us through this ARG plot skeleton here and just talk us through it? Because y'all made it and I did not. Unmute. Go ahead, you can do it. Go ahead. I see you. You're about to push the button, Nick. Go ahead.
Me? Okay, sure. So I guess so. We sort of did the story beats. So I've listed like a couple of things there, but haven't really ironed that part out. The plot points that we need to hit part is really where we've been doing most of the thinking and sort of work on that. So we know we're going to have to start with the death of the sidekick's grandmother and the announcement that the recipe exists and needs to be found. We've sort of been leaning towards, I believe, looking in the Discord just before class, that the sidekick finds the recipe while going through some of Grandma's old stuff. Um, then we have the mentor character is going to come into play as a mole who works in the company that we've created, this Auntie Sweetum's Baked Goods company. And the mole is going to interact with the players and help them figure out like how to get this recipe. I'm not exactly sure why the players would need their help, but we've sort of been thinking about it. So then the group finds the recipe, and then the mole, surprise, it's been a bad guy the whole time. He's actually an AI working for the corporation, trying to get them to find this recipe. And then the Bacon Corporation, of course, has just been a front the whole time for a bigger organization that has big evil plans. The recipe is then a cipher. It's somehow sort of encrypted instructions to get to the Antikythera, the mechanism thing. And then we were trying to figure out exactly what the mechanism should do. We came up with a couple different things. I think Ian's suggestion had something about time happening. I don't know. We wrote down, there's a few things here, and then we were also tossing some stuff around in the Discord as well. And whatever we decide for the mechanism, I think, is gonna want to be definitely the part that is like the big end, based on like what the mechanism can actually do. Because we were kind of thinking about like, all right, how can we conclude it? The best thing that we've sort of been throwing around is we have this mechanism where the players have to sort of reprogram it or set something off in it that ends up condemning the corporation to, a void of some kind, limbo, something like that. That's sort of the gist of it. I don't know, Sebastian, Ian, anybody, if I missed anything.
I'm waiting on Sebastian or Ian. Sebastian says, yeah, that's about it. Okay. Sounds good. One of the things, so just off the top of my head, you've got an AI from the corporation. So maybe you're throwing the corporation in limbo. Maybe it's shutting down the AI, and that way it's you can have good elements in the corporation working against bad elements in the corporation, and that way you can use a corporation website for both good guys and bad guys, depending on what section you're in, right? So just a thought. The corporation sounds to me like it's going to be a cookie corporation or something like that. Keebler, but not Keebler.
Yeah, Hannah's been working on a nice logo too for us as well. So we've got some assets going on.
I mean, is it cookies? What is the recipe?
The recipe's carrot cake.
Okay.
Sebastian has an actual carrot cake recipe apparently. Is,
Okay.
I believe what he said.
So let me stop share and let me find. Let's see if it's still there. Yes. Okay. Did it come back? No, it did not. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to share this. Share screen. Okay, share. So this used to be the premier place for finding and playing ARGs. It was called Unfiction, and the place to where it was centered around. Let me get the chat out again. Is the Unforum, which I just clicked on and goes to a GoDaddy page. It died a number of years ago, because the guy who hosted it was too popular. It was costing the guy a lot of money. He asked for donations and didn't get enough. So I want to go to online tools. Yes. So this basic stuff is still here. And one of the things I want to show you is this was just a whole host of things that you could use to solve puzzles that were the kind of common puzzles that happened in ARGs. So that is the point, that not every person has to solve every puzzle. So the whole point is that if one person solves it, they share the solve and everybody moves on. So here you can look at this and get ideas for what kind of puzzles or codes you'd like to use, right? And there are three basic kind of codes. Let me get something else out. I realize I'm blocking things. I'm just trying to shut down Windows because I've got 8 billion windows open. So why was I going over here again? I don't remember now. Okay, so there are three basic kinds of codes. The first kind is a substitution code, right? And the simplest of all of those is what's known as the Caesar cipher, because it was used by Caesar. It's also known as ROT 13. ROT 13 stands for rotate 13 letters for the other 13 letters. There are 26 letters in the alphabet. And if you go to rot13.com and you say this is the cipher text that will lead you to the truth, right there, that's what that looks like in ROT 13. But here's the other kind of fun thing. You can change that number to anything from 1 to 26 and offset it by 1 letter or by 13 letters. The other thing you can do is you can add numbers. So essentially add 10 numbers and you get 36 characters instead of 26 characters. You can even add punctuation and then rotate that. And then part of the puzzle becomes, okay, this is a rotation cipher. But I see numbers in the ciphertext, so we know they've used numbers. Did they use numbers first or last, and how far did they shift? But there are all sorts of substitution ciphers. You can do a rail fence cipher. Look these up. You could do well, if we go back here, we can do Morse code is essentially a substitution cipher where you're substituting dots and dashes. Braille is a substitution cipher. Anything that turns the regular alphabet into something else is a substitution. The this is the word I was looking for that is gone from my head. And I know I have, or I thought I did, router slender. Where the hell is it? Puzzle prototypes, AACS. I can't find it now. Okay, so the next kind of cipher, and the word for it is, it has flown out of my head. I'm having a senior moment. Vignier is a different kind of cipher. The other way to encode something is to hide it in plain sight, right? So if let's go to Word and pull that up and give myself a new file, new blank document, and I'm gonna new share. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna share this. Okay, so this is the cipher text. The answer is here. It is clear to everyone. Please see the truth. Right, and if I do this, no. But see, I've already screwed this up. Let's turn it all black. And then go here. And turn that red again. And then turn that red. Okay, so you see that, right? I've just made a cipher. It's called steganography, is the second way of enciphering something. This is steganography. Because the text is very clearly, this is the cipher text. The answer here is clear to everyone. Please see the truth. But if you just look at the red letters, it says help, right? And another way to do it is change the font on certain letters, or there's even, if you there are even steganography programs where essentially you make a picture file, and you can encrypt, you can put text in there, because think in terms of a large picture file. Think of how much data is in that, right? How many ones and zeros? Now think in terms of a sentence in regular ASCII, right? There is much less data contained in a text file than there is in a picture file, right? I can embed a text file into a picture file without screwing up the picture file terribly, right? In fact, secrets hidden in images. Okay. Oh, you guys can't hear this, can you? Stop share. Okay. Screen share. Here we go. Share computer sound, optimize screen for sharing a video clip. I just found this.
message has been sent, they can't actually find out what it means. Whereas in steganography, we're trying to hide the fact that we sent a message at all. So a classic example would be if I was writing you a letter and then I wrote in invisible ink a whole different letter between the lines or on the other side or something like that. And only you knew that that was going to be there. So you get home and everyone else maybe looks at the letter and thinks, that's just not very interesting at all. And then of course you can uncover the secret message. Today we'll talk a bit about digital image steganography, because obviously there's a huge scope for hiding things in digital images. Images can be megabytes or more, and you can hide files of megabytes or more in them. But of course, as the amount of steganography in images has increased, so has the attempts to try and find it. So there's lots of statistical approaches to try and find these things as well. Perhaps the most simple form of steganography in an image is least significant bit steganography. So if we've got a bitmap of any kind, a PNG or a BMP, then we can change the lowest bits to be our message, and it'll have an almost imperceptible change on the actual way the image looks.
It's a bit like if I change the number 800,351, if I change the 1 or the 51 on that, it's not going to have a massive impact.
That's exactly right. But the number is so big that in the grand scheme of things it makes no difference. So generally speaking, we'll change, in the image, every single byte will change the last bit or maybe the last 2 bits if we're really trying to cram in a lot of data. Every byte is 8 bits. We take the last 2 and change that to our message in the hope that no one's going to notice. So for every byte, that's every 8 bits, 6 of them are the regular image and 2 of them are our secret message. So a quarter of our message is now secret. So if we have a normal...
Okay. So you see, that's another way of encrypting things. There's also the thing he said, the invisible ink. Think about this. You've got a recipe. What if your character has the original recipe, but it's not so much the recipe itself, but the paper that the recipe is on, right? And early on, you find that you get the recipe, and everybody starts trying to decrypt the recipe, or the AI starts trying to decrypt the recipe. But it's not until you tell your character, hey, that paper, put it over a candle or warm it up and see what happens, right? Or for instance, hold on a sec. There's this. Yes. Okay. What is this? Oh, those are my stamps. Okay. So, for instance, I've got an envelope. Looks like a normal priority mail envelope. But let's see. Can you see this? No. Have to get rid of some light. Okay. It's not much darker, but it's a little darker. Okay, now let's see if you can see this. Oh, look at that. There's a secret message that you can only see with a UV light. Right? Thank you. So I have these things are available. I think I bought a pack of 5 of them for $7 on Amazon, something like that. The UV light. But here's the thing: you don't have to like give these out or buy. You know, somebody has to buy one. You can. All you have to do, because it's all virtual, is have your character take a picture of, hey, I found a UV light just like you told me to. I ordered it off of Amazon. Virtual cyber people, and and have them take the picture of the recipe while shining a UV light on it, right? And then suddenly, and take a picture and upload it, and oh my God, we solved the puzzle, right? And I could do that because I already have the crap, right? So you can do both real life steganography with invisible inks, or there are all sorts of puzzles of, yeah, see, Aaron has one too. All the cool kids have UV flashlights. Well, I'm throwing out ideas. So steganography, substitution, and then the third kind is mathematical. Let me library. It's under C. I have, what's the third kind? It's cipher. Let me go to. I'm sorry, I should have prepped more, but I'm just kind of playing off of what you gave me, and I wanted to talk about ciphers and codes now, or at some point. Where's the store page? Okay. I'm not currently sharing a screen, am I? No. Okay. That's all right. By cipher. Substitutions. So there are mathematical things, mathematical codes, which can be mechanical. So some of the earliest mathematical codes were actually mechanical. So you've probably heard of the Enigma machine, which was a series of wheels, right, with the letters of the alphabet on them, or at least on the last ones. And so the big thing was that every time you pressed a letter, it was a typewriter, essentially, and you set the code, the first code wheel at a particular letter, that would substitute so in fact it was a substitution cipher. It would substitute a letter for the letter you punched on the typewriter automatically. But here's the thing: once you punched a typewriter, once you punched a letter, the wheel would turn one, so that the next letter you punched, if you start out at rot 13, the next letter would be rot 14, and the next letter would be rot 15. But instead of just one wheel, they put I believe 8 or 10 wheels, so that it would, depending on what position all the wheels were in, every letter was essentially encoded with a different cipher. So then you have to figure out what positions the wheels are in, right? And the Germans made up this code. Well, so here's the thing. Sebastian says that may be hard to get through to the players. If you do if you Google Enigma code, believe it or not, the Enigma code is pretty ubiquitous. And in fact, you can Enigma code solver, Enigma machine cipher right here is a whole online thing. You just type in the ciphertext and select how many rotors, select the reflector to mount, and then it becomes a multi-part puzzle where one part is the ciphertext and then one part is the rotor positions, one part is the reflector, one part is the initial positions, and etc. Right? So if you can solve all those things or figure out all those things, you can solve for the text. Yeah, essentially, fabulous. Lots of solvers, lots of codes. Yeah. Oh, Karen. So all of these kind of codes, remember, this is only one kind of player activity, one kind of gameplay. There are lots. So don't think that it's all codes all the time. One of the other things that the gameplay committee or the gameplay group should think about is different kinds of activities for different kinds of people, right? So when we're building the escape room in the wintertime, the big thing there is you only have a half an hour to do these puzzles. So they have to be fairly straightforward, or at least solvable in minutes rather than hours, right? But any puzzle that you're banging your head against for hours, but anytime you are not progressing, you are stuck and you are not playing the game, right? This is general game development. So this was the problem with early adventure games, was that you'd get stuck on a puzzle and you couldn't do anything. You'd just have to stare at the puzzle and try and figure it out. Nowadays, you get stuck at a puzzle and you Google it and you find a walkthrough and you continue, right? But that's not how, well, that won't be available to people for this, right? Because it's live. So you want something that's solvable in less than a day, right? Because every day there's 2 new things. And mostly you want stuff that's solvable in less than a couple hours, right? So you might divide up things, because one of the other kind of goals to progress, right, is dividing up a large milestone into many smaller milestones, right? And every time you hit a smaller milestone, you have progressed towards that large milestone. So what you start getting is multi-part puzzles, right? Where each smaller section gives me the dopamine, right? Gives my little blast of serotonin. I progressed. There is a flip side to reward, in that every time I finish something and I solved it, I am then told, oh, you haven't solved the whole thing. You just solved one part, right? So what happens is you get puzzle fatigue, where you feel like, oh my God, my reward for solving a puzzle, I just killed myself figuring that out, and my reward is a harder puzzle, and now I want to quit, right? There's an easy solution to that, and that is labeling each one. If you have a multi-part puzzle, you tell everybody this is part 1 of 5, and then the difference between solving a puzzle and getting a second puzzle and going, oh, well, I guess I'll solve this puzzle, and that'll be my 2 puzzles for the day. And then you get to the second one, and it gives you a third, and you're like, what? Whereas if I'm told, say, this is 1 of 3, right? I solved 1, I get the second one, I'm halfway there. Well, I'm a third of the way there, and then I get the second one, and I only have 1 more, and I'm done. And they should all build off each other. You don't give absolute different things in a multi-part puzzle. So the most clear, best example of any game teaching you how to play it, go play the original Portal, right? It starts with walking through a door and says, oh my God, you walk through the door. You're great. You're great. Push a button. Oh my God, you pushed a button. The door opened. Now you can walk through it. Oh, this button, as soon as you step off the button, the door closes again. What will you do? Oh, there's a cube over there. Put the cube on the button stays pushed. Now you can walk through the door. And each step in that builds off the previous step. And they worked really hard to make that build, and they tell you are in room 1 of 19. They tell you at the beginning there are 19 rooms. That turns out to be a lie, but it certainly gets you through the tutorializing. That is essentially the tutorial of Portal. There are 19 rooms you have to progress through, and it tells you right at the beginning 1 of 19, and you feel like, oh, okay, this is the game. It's 19 rooms. I get to the end of 19 rooms, everything's good. Tell people where they are in the puzzle, and any puzzle, any tutorial, and this goes for every video game ever, you should show them how to do it, let them do it, and then put a little twist on it. It's the rule of 3, right? So I show you how to do it, walk through a door, and you do it, yay. Now let them do it. They have to open the door. They push the button, the door opens. Oh my God, done, right? It feels brain dead easy, but it is a sense of accomplishment. And then put a little twist on it. Now the door won't stay open unless I keep the button pushed. I need a weight on that button to keep the door open. Oh my God, now I twist it. And then each one of those levels becomes another tiny twist where, okay, now you have to get the cube through some obstacle in order to push the button to open the door, kind of thing. So teach your players how to play your game. Keep teaching them constantly. Puzzles are hard when there's more than one logical deduction to be made on it. If you make one logical deduction and solve it, you feel like a genius, and you have progressed, and you get your dopamine. And that's game design in a nutshell, basically, is keep teaching, continually teach. People, the biggest obstacles, the biggest problems when people get stuck is because game developers are asking them to make more than one mental leap. As long as you keep making small mental leaps, you will continually progress, and you will learn how to play your game. So, okay, that's I've taken up too much time. There's no time to break out. That's what happens when I get going. But all of this stuff is stuff I have to say to you, and the earlier I say it to you, the better. And honestly, the biggest complaint I get in the postmortems is you didn't tell us about this thing until we were a week into planning, and then we couldn't use it. Right? So the more I tell you up front, the better. Tomorrow, I'm going to put a hard, not tomorrow, Thursday. Olivia or Luna, stop me at 3:30, and we'll do breakouts at 3:30 no matter where I'm talking. Actually, Karen, you stop me at 3:30, so that because we need you guys to plan. If all three of you have the assignment, then one of you will stop me at 3:30 at least. Okay, so keep working. Everybody should have a sense of the story. Writers, you should, each character should get their own little section of a Bible. Tell me who they are. Tell me about their online presence. Do they have a Twitter account? Do they have a Facebook? Do they keep a blog? What do they love the most? What do they fear the most? Go back to that character sheet from the first assignment, and tell me about each of the characters so that everybody in each group knows about each of the characters. Okay? Okay. I will see you on Thursday. Right Clubs do Thursday.